Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Kevin over at the jkevinjohnson.com. Just wanted to come at you for about 10 minutes, just a 10-minute show today, 10-minute blurb, talking about 4 ways that you can set boundaries of freedom in your life. 4 ways of setting boundaries of freedom in your life. This morning I had posted something on Facebook with regard to setting boundaries on your time, your heart, what you allow into your heart, and your mind, what you allow your mind to dwell on, and your body, what you allow your people to commit, or what you allow yourself to commit yourself physically to, and then your time, which I guess by way is an extension of your body, in that what you commit yourself to and what you allow to fill your schedule and determine what you will be doing with your time, energy, and efforts, your sweat equity, so to speak. So I just wanted to talk about 4 ways of 4 ways of setting boundaries in your life that will hopefully help you live in a state of freedom. It's kind of paradoxical that boundaries, when you set boundaries, it leads to freedom. When you think about it, but it is true. I'm finding that when you place boundaries on your life, markers on your life, standards and obligations on your life, it frees you up to be to create an atmosphere, a container in which you can be the person that you were designed to be, that you were called to be, that you were destined, determined, created to be when you have boundaries. So, what got me thinking about this was that, hold on for 1 second. Let me see if I can adjust this sound real quick. Testing. Yeah, what got me thinking about this was I was asked to do something outside of what my range or what my commitment was to a particular task, and I was asked to overstep that boundary. Now, over the course of the last couple of years, I've really become militant about my time and my schedule and what I allow to dictate and determine where I spend my efforts in my life force, my energy, because, we only get 24 hours in a day and we only have a finite amount of energy, especially if you have children or kids, or if you have a really trying career that's very demanding, or if you're in school, all of us out there have something, or our schedules just, we don't have a lot of time to play with. Each and every one of us is given 24 hours, and you got to sleep, you got to eat, and you want to make sure that you get some life in your life. You know what I mean? You want to make sure that you're actually living a life. So you have to be very militant about your time and how you spend your efforts if you actually want to live and enjoy some of the fruits of your labor. I can remember when I used to have a side business, a side hustle of cleaning windows and window washing. And one of the things that I just kind of stuck out to me was that I would go into these very affluent and nice neighborhoods and houses and very affluent sections of town, but nobody would be there to really enjoy them, because they were a lot of the my customers and a lot of the people that I helped out and serviced. They weren't there. They were working. And these would be at all odds of hours and moments in the day and in the week. And when normally you would think that somebody would be around to enjoy what they are producing. So if you have to be very militant about guarding what you allow yourself to be committed to, and what you allow, what you allow to influence how you think, how you feel, how you spend your time, energy, and effort, and how you spend your physical body if you want to live a life in which you're totally free in every area of human endeavor, in every area in which that word freedom can be manifested, in which it could be lived out. So just not talking about physical freedom, the ability to go anywhere that you want to, but talking about having your heart free, in which it's not captured or not entangled with negative emotions like being worried all the time, or being in a state of anxiousness, or being bitter, or being in a state of worry, unforgiveness, or being in a state of in which you're captive to others, codependent, in which your how you feel is based on how somebody else feels. And then also looking at your heart or your mind and your thought life, in which you want to make sure that your thought life that you're thinking clearly, you're thinking soberly, you're thinking about good, positive things that help you keep a practically positive mental attitude, meaning that you just, you understand that challenges, opportunities, troubles will come. There will be situations. Life will test you, but you're practical about things, and that, hey, for the most part, 99% of the things, the troubles that we go through in 5 years, tomorrow, in 2 years, it ain't even going to matter. You know what I mean? So don't let your thoughts dwell on them. There is that small percentage that's going to require a lot of your time mentally, but for the most part, for most of us, there's a lot of things that we allow to our minds to contemplate and meditate on that, it's just not necessary. So that's another way that I was looking at. And then just looking at looking at your time, guarding your time with diligence, making sure that you set boundaries on your time so that you can enjoy your time with your, first and foremost, yourself, and then your spouse or your significant other, or even your children, your family, your loved ones, and then your friends, and then your community. You see where I'm going with this? So, in our culture, in our Western world, in our Western culture, society today, we live in a culture that I see that in large part is skewed in a manner in which most people are working 2 or 3 jobs. Most people are going from task to task, obligation to obligation, without really having any priority or obligation set, or determination set about their schedules and how they do things. So I just wanted to talk about 4 ways. Number 1, being your time, being your heart, your mind, your mental life, your physical body. These are ways in which, when you set boundaries up, when you guard, when you make resolutions about how you're gonna live each of these areas of your life, that when you set up boundaries, it frees you up to live a life that you can design for yourself, that will make you happy and help make those in your circle of influence help live them a happier and better life. As the saying goes, from a male perspective, when mama's happy, everybody's happy. You know what I'm saying? When daddy's happy, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be around happy, positive, joyful people. We all know this. You're attracted to people like that. You want to laugh. You want to just enjoy and have a good time, versus being around negative people. And one of the things I've noticed is that with respect to a lot of negative people and just negativity in general, and being held captive, is that oftentimes many of these areas, looking at those people with that attitude, that way of living, they really don't set down and prioritize their life in such a manner that they set boundaries and guard those boundaries with a militancy that a tenacity of a junkyard bulldog. You have to do that these days, and when in doing that, you begin the journey of designing your own life. And another thing that kind of pointed this out to me, or was kind of a living example of this, was one of my stops today with regard to my career, with regard to my daily occupation. I met a guy, let's call him Mr. Ron. Mr. Ron kind of struck me as just a happy-go-lucky, joyful kind of guy. You know, we spent some time out working and is doing what we had to do around his home. And this guy, you know, he didn't have to, but he was out there with us, working with us, where he was already working in his yard when we got there. And this guy, he told us he was 51, but I could tell that he had the vitality and strength of a young man. He was really strong. He looked healthy. He looked fit. He was always smiling. He had good conversation the whole time we were there. He was positive. Mentally, he was sharp. He was right on it. He told me a little about what he did and in his occupation. You have to be of a certain caliber of sharpness, but at the same time, he wasn't, he was fit enough to get out in the dirt and actually get dirty and get down in there and move heavy stuff and do some manual labor as well. He was fit in all areas of his life. His heart was clear. It sounded like he was in a good relationship with his wife and his children and stuff. And he was just enjoying the weather. He's like, you know, this is good weather out here, you know, and he was sitting down in his backyard and kind of just enjoying the sun and get up and do some more work, took his dogs for a walk, talked to the neighbor. I mean, that sounds like a good life. Who wouldn't want to live a life like that? And he said he lives like this every day. Had a vacation home in Florida and had some other things going on for him. Had a nice little team of peers that he had built up around him. So to me, he was just a living example of somebody who's really thought about, set down and prioritized and set up boundaries in their life that they guarded with tenacity. And over time, he was able to forge out a life that he was prosperous. He was living prosperity in all the ways that a human being can live prosperity in my eyes. Now, I don't know the full story of this man. I only met him for a couple of hours. You know, who knows what's really going on behind the scenes, but just on the outside, looking in and encountering this man and encountering a lot of people over the course of my career, I could really tell that this guy had reached a certain point in his life, that he had really designed his life in a way that helped him, that propelled him, that made him live joyfully and happily. So, you know, you can do it. The whole point of this show is that this little talk is, this little spiel, this little live stream, this little podcast nugget of hope, inspiration, encouragement is that you can do it. We live in a great time. I was listening to an audio book by Senator Dr. Ron Paul, and he was just talking about in this latest book, I forgot the title of it, but he was talking about the educational system and some things with regard to how education in our society is changing and where it's headed and where we've already transitioned into, that many of us really aren't seeing and aren't noticing. I'm beginning to notice it a lot more because I have young children, and I'm starting to see where they're at and where things are going with respect to where I was and where I used to be and the things that I had to go through when I was in their age. And I could see that the transformation that our educational system is making is just phenomenally moving at an NASCAR tenactic pace. It's really changing fast, and many of us aren't ready for it. But many of us are ready for it. But we live in a great time in which the availability, the ability for the masses to design their own life is really accessible, and it's really cheap right now, and it's really possible to self-educate and forge out real wealth for yourself, not only for yourself, but for others. For you might want to stay in the shack, but you could be wealthy and donate 99.9% of your income if you wanted to those less fortunate. So the availability and accessibility of life transforming tools and things of that nature is really available to the masses, and it behooves us to take advantage of this while we can. So I just want to give out a little encouragement, inspiration, motivation to push, prompt, propel, promote, lead. I don't know, drag you, rake you across the coals to have you see and realize that this is a great world that we live in right now. This is a great time. Enjoy your life. Live it to the fullest. Be the person that you were designed to be by the Creator. As you go about your occupation, putting food on the table, don't forget there's a calling. There's a reason why you're here in this plane of existence. There's a calling on your life. The Creator just didn't create you just to be here and just to go through life running up and down the basketball court as if nobody had placed goals on the end of each of that court. There are some goals for you to reach in your life. So with relationship to the Creator Almighty, find out and learn what those goals is, learn what your calling is, and get on it. All right. So this is Kevin over at jkevinjohnson.com. Just wanted to talk about 4 ways. Looking at your time, your mental life, your heart, your emotional life, your physical body. 4 ways in which you can set up boundaries. Sit down and determine on what you will and won't allow to infiltrate whatever you've resolved to as far as those boundaries in your life, so that you can design and forge out a life that you'll be happy with, and that not only you, but first and foremost, that the Creator Almighty will be satisfied, content, happy with. You know what I mean? So this is Kevin. Thanks for joining me for this live stream. If you find anything encouraging, or if you want to say something, criticisms, just say hello. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and get in touch with me with whatever way, shape, form, capacity that you can. You'll find me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You'll find me all over the place. And also, if you want to support this program, also look for me. I'll try to put some links up somewhere. Support this broadcast on Spreaker, and then also support me on Patreon if you find this enjoyable and adding value to your life. So thank you, and look forward to talking to you all soon.